Alright, so I want to talk about this tweet. So, it's a tweet from Supernoon. This one was going around FGC Twitter. Question for fighting game people here. If you really want to win or be a good player, a really good player, not even a good player, a really good player, why do you pick weaker characters or not as effective characters? I see some people being mad about losing or tilted, but then they play like Anji or Faust. I never understood this, honestly. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, did people have a lot to say about this. You're coming at people. You're coming at people. But the main thing about this thread is a lot of people missed the beginning of it, and they mostly talked about just what they wanted to do, which is fine. So like for example, this one is a really good example. If you really want to be a good player, no one is proving their talent and skills by winning with training wheels on. But if you can win with a handicap, you've proven your worth. So this is not the best take. This is not the best take. Not the best take. That tweet is a banger. It's not the best take. I actually have gave my own perspective though. If you want to win or be a good player, why pick a weaker character? So, both to the person who reads this and the person who's watching this, you have to review, again, you have to, like, be a little bit self-aware. Like, what is your goal in this genre? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to win the game? Like, are you trying to win in games? Are you playing for fun? Like, what are you doing? That's the place you need to start, especially, like, as you just continue to play the genre, right? Like, you pick a character, and if it's easy enough for you to just pick a character and just be like, oh, this character I like, or it's cool, that's one thing. But Noon is talking about like a last step type of thing, you know what I mean? You're playing and you're competing and you're starting to think about results. So I'm actually the type that I think a weaker character can help you out a lot. So that tweet that we saw before, like, it's worded in a really snarky fashion, but there is merit behind what he's saying. Because when you play a character that is weaker, you are forced to look at situations in a different way. So there's actually one thing about Guilty Gear in general. So I don't remember where I heard this. Who's the first person I heard say this? But it's definitely from the US scene. It's how someone told me like, oh yeah, like if the game is rock, paper, scissors, this player really like using the big rock. So what is the big rock? It's a straightforward, strong tool, you know, it's just the thing that you do because you just do it, you know what I mean? So that's one thing about not just playing strong characters, but certain things about like certain games too, because Guilty Gear really leans into that, because characters have strong strategies that can lead to you winning. From a competitive perspective, there are examples of people who have played weak characters and they switch and they perform a lot better because of their perspective on the game. There are examples of people who play already strong characters and then switch because they don't vibe with the one strong character for whatever reason. The thing that is important about this is that it does need to really be internal, because it's like what that guy said before of, oh, like no one cares about the dude who wins with a handicap, aka he's calling top tier like handicap. That is 100% false. That is not true. The only thing people remember is the result at the end. And your goal, when you're thinking about like winning and characters and stuff, your goal should be like, what would it take for me to perform under stakes consistently, right? And playing a strong character just helps. There's no question. I say this about myself all the time. Like, all the games where I perform, all my best performances in various fighting games have always been with a top tier. Unquestionably, always been with a top tier. There are versions where I play characters that are not top tier, but I don't know how much of it was ego. I don't know how much of it was, oh, I'm just playing the same character that I have been, so I'll do my best. But I can definitely unquestionably say all my best performances, all my best runs are always the characters that, not just top tier, it's usually like top 3, to be quite frank. There are examples, and you could probably think of some. I'm not going to point out any. You can probably think of some of a tournament that somebody won, whether it's a top tier or low tier, whatever, and then they just couldn't do it again. And then while no one will take that win away from that person, and you shouldn't take wins away from people, it's very difficult to win large events. The point is, they never did it again, so the consistency was not there. Noon mentioned like Anji and Faust, right? So in new fighting games, there's no way for us to really know who's juiced and who's not. Like, of course, we're going to have our early perspectives and opinions based on like early strategies, but it takes a little while for things to fall into place. So there could definitely be the case, like my case, of like, okay, so I played Milia for a while, and then after a while, I'm like, you know what? Like, I think she's good at these things and not good at these things. And the bad part is that a lot of the things she struggles with are common in tournaments. So let me do stuff to help stabilize myself in competition, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I thought about that on my own. I went through the cast, and I was like, oh, this is my conclusion. This is how I'm going to do it. But a lot of people read this, and they got really... It's like they skipped the whole first line. And they told you what their goal is, but this character thing, the discussion on character changes quite a bit in tournament. I actually should go back to this tweet. The discussion on character changes so much in tournament compared to when you're playing for fun. Again, no one's gonna like say anything about like you playing whoever you want, but it does start becoming a thing when you start taking it more seriously. I think it's pretty simple. Plus, there is never anything wrong with getting more perspective out of a game. But that's just my take, though. That's kind of my thought on it. I basically would say I don't really care what people pick. So the thing, because I agree with him too, it is annoying when people who care about results complain that their character is not good, because there's a really easy answer to that. I'll say that, like, you know, I knew what I had to do. Because I have prior experience. It's happened to me, I want to say, this is like the third time. So in Melty Blood, I switched from a character that was considered strong, not top tier, just strong. I switched from Akia Vermilion to H. Kohaku. Then in Blaze Blue, they buffed Lychee to CP Lychee to, she was top tier, but I did not like how she felt. I did not like the changes. So even though she was really strong, I didn't like the playstyle as much. So I switched to another character. I switched to Valkenhayn. So now it's like what I said before of like Milia struggles with some things in matches, which is fine, but in tournament it comes up a lot. So I needed other characters, because I think it's still worth it to play Milia, because she does some things other characters don't do very well, and she responds to things in a really comfortable way where other characters have to address it directly. Milia doesn't, and I like that. But that's how I feel. How do you guys feel about that?